everyone. I'm Erica Becker, your host of the GC360 podcast, recorded right here at the Garden City, New York Media Studio. And on this podcast, we interview some of the most interesting people around the community. And today, I am very much looking forward to my conversation. I'm going to be speaking with Kim Jones. She is the publisher and editor-in-chief of Garden City Living magazine, amongst some other local magazines that we will get into talking about. But first, I want to welcome you, Kim. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out here today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So, first off, you are like the epitome of female entrepreneur right now. I mean, you don't only publish for the Garden City Living magazine, you have two others, right?
Correct.
So where are the other two that you publish?
Yeah, so I actually started with Manhasset Living in Manhasset, New York, on the North Shore, and branched out to Port Washington. But Garden City came to my attention. Personally, I grew up coming to Garden City, and I know what an amazing town it is.
Yeah,
and some of my business partners have pointed it out that they don't have anything like this, and we brought the magazine to Garden City, and now we are very involved in the local culture here.
I love that. So whenever you came up with this whole idea, the first one was published in 2020, right? The first in Manhasset, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So how did you come up with this, and what is the whole idea and the premise around everything?
Right, so at the time I was actually a resident of Manhasset. COVID had started. We started with the pandemic, and there was nothing that brought the community together, and I was researching of a way that I could be very involved in the community, and a magazine kind of came to my attention. The whole point of the magazine is about neighbors getting to know neighbors, bringing neighbors together, highlighting amazing things going on in the town, whether it be sports or local organizations, local charities, nonprofits, or just residents doing great things and giving of themselves. And there was no real way to highlight that and talk about that. So this opportunity came to my attention that I could work with a company to start this, and so I did. And it is mailed to almost all of the residents over there.
Wow.
And the feedback was amazing because people did see the value of having a place where they could highlight great things going on. So we branched out. That's when we branched out. And then finally here, we launched Garden City Living in the fall.
In the fall, past
2022.
Fall. Great. That's a pretty fast, you had some good momentum there. It's starting with one in 2020, pretty much one every year, right?
Basically, yes.
Wow.
I started Port pretty much 6 months after Manhasset. And then once I got a really good read on what worked, what didn't work, what people loved, I then brought it to here in Garden City.
Great. So I know that you also, every month, somebody or either a group or a family is featured on the cover. How do you go about picking these people, finding them, and all of that?
Of course. So as you mentioned, a lot of times it is families and will be families. We want, the whole idea, as I said, was neighbors getting to know neighbors and hearing about things that neighbors are doing to improve their town or why they love their town. So often we will get nominations of people that want to highlight great things that their neighbors are doing. And you also said we do have groups. So the last couple are groups because a lot of times there's great groups doing great things.
Yeah, definitely.
So the latest issue that are in mailboxes now is on SEPTA, which is the Special Education Board here in Garden City. And it's a group of parents that are advocating for their children with special needs and working with the schools to improve the services that their children can receive and improve services every year. And last month we highlighted female entrepreneurs for Women's History Month.
Makes sense.
So we do try to stick with a theme if there's something special or a special dedication month. And just again, there are always people that are really passionate about what they're doing and what they're doing in Garden City.
I love that you are really trying to bring the community together by doing this. I mean, that's kind of what we do here. Our whole motto is bringing the community to you. So, so it's really, really great to do. Now, also though, I was looking through it. How do you, as a publisher, how do you decide? Because there's other things in here other different articles. You have some recipes. You have the article that's on the people on the cover. How do you go about just organizing an edition like of a magazine?
Yes, and it's never easy. Of course, I have a local team who, you will see if you look on page 3 at our local team that we work together to, find great things happening in town. But I always say that the magazine is for Garden City by Garden City. So once people find out that they have an opportunity where they can also have a voice, they can reach out to us and talk about something that they may be passionate about. So I actually highlighted a family earlier in the season in fall, the Sweeney family.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And Vera Sweeney has she's a blogger, a food blogger.
Okay.
So she will sometimes provide us with local recipes to share with the community that she finds were very popular from her blog. In sports, we always have a sports section, but because we're a magazine, we're not reporting the scores. We're reporting special highlights going on or special achievements. So we always try to find stories or get a nomination on an organization or an initiative or an athlete that is doing something that deserves to be highlighted or recognized. We do Pet of the Month, so you can always nominate your Pet of the Month or a neighbor's Pet of the Month. So different things like that. We look for different segments where we can have community members also share from their own perspective, or also we can, talk to them about things that they're doing that we hear that is going on.
Yeah. Wow, that's really lovely. I have more questions for you, but before we get into it, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
My father never stops moving, but after he had a brain aneurysm, he had a difficult time getting back to his normal routine. That's when I called Alliance Services. They paired him with Rosa. She developed a custom home care plan that helped him with his recovery.
Rosa helped me gain my independence back.
Alliance Services, helping older adults continue to live well and independent.
Welcome back to the GC360 podcast. I'm your host, Erica Becker. For those of you just joining me, I am here with Kim Jones, and she is a publisher and editor-in-chief of 3 magazines, maybe soon to be 4. And so we're talking all about how she got inspired to do this, but we're focusing on the Garden City Living magazines. We are in Garden City. So Kim, now getting back to what we were just speaking about, whenever you're finding people to interview, you were talking about the Sweeney family. So you said that Vera was her name, right? She gives you guys recipes and things like that. How else do you, and I see that you have, and you did a sports section like you said. I'm just so curious and amazed at how you figured out how to put all of this together during the pandemic, and then you have expanded to 3. So how do you, being in charge of 3, how do you manage your time and manage all of that without going crazy?
Good question, very good question. So of course, I am very involved, and to your question before, I also try to attend as many events within my towns as I possibly can to get to know the residents and things going on. And if I hear of something great going on, I will ask them, would you like to talk more about this?
Yeah.
Because the magazines are super hyper local. Like everything in the magazine really has to be about things going on in that town. But of course, each of my magazines has an amazing team that are all local that help me, pull stuff together, also find great things going on through events they're attending or just living their life here. I work with Marilyn Filosa. She's a local resident. And I also work with Ashley Medici, and she's our photographer.
Oh, great.
And they're both local to Garden City. So we, as a team, hear about great things going on, that we either receive nominations or reach out to people if we want to ask them to highlight, what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to have a team, or you'd be running.
Of course.
That would be insane. Do you write all of these articles, or do you have other writers too?
Yeah, so Marilyn is our principal writer. She always interviews our feature, but I do write sometimes as well. And as I mentioned before, it is for the community by the community. So we do have guest writers if they are residents of the town. So there are ways for people in this magazine to share if they're passionate about something in their town.
That's great.
And as you may have noticed, if you're a reader, which hopefully you are, everyone out there, we have our expert section.
Okay.
These are carefully selected experts in their field, and they can also contribute to talk about things that they're experts in, specifically for you, the community, to get to know great tips from them to improve your life. So a combination of those type of things.
Oh, I see in
put
this
together.
one. It's this one, right?
Right. So
A designer.
In our latest issue that's out right now, hitting mailboxes this month, our window treatment expert, Graham Byers, he owns a local business, and he is here to give you tips about how to select window treatments for your home. Some things you may never know. So motorized shades is our topic this month, and why they're great and what you didn't know about it. So things like that, look out for in every issue, because they are great tips written just for the community here.
Yeah.
And how they can make decisions on improving their life.
Wow, that's so great. How do you must be a big networker to be able to meet all these people in all these different counties.
Yes, it is a huge part of my job.
Yeah.
There's a nickname, like a community connector. Sometimes I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because if I do meet different people from businesses or the town, I'm always looking to, connect different people that might benefit from one another or want to get to know each other.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of my job.
So have you always been like that? Like someone who likes to connect people and being social and all of that?
I'm an only child, so I had always to have to be very social.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have no family or friends. Like, my friends are my family.
Yeah.
Of course, I love my family out there. You know who you are. But it is kind of innate in my personality to always be outgoing and reach out to people. And it's just part of who I am. I do love seeing people get to know each other and come together. And, I would hopefully in the future be able to do collaboration articles between two different businesses. I think that would be great. So, yeah, it is kind of like one of my passions to do that.
Yeah, that's great. And you've only been doing this specifically since 2020. So before that, was your career in that kind of a networky type of situation too?
So I did spend 20 years in the retail industry. I was a buyer, and then I moved into analytics. I had a large team that I worked with, and when you're a buyer, there is a lot of internal networking you need to do with the vendor selling you product, and coordinating with all different departments within the store to get the product in and out onto the floors. So that definitely was part of something that I had to do my whole career from the start.
Well, it's good that you built up those skills to now you're putting it towards something that is benefiting so many people. I mean, like you said, it's gotten so much good feedback that pretty much every year you're adding a new magazine to the list.
Yes, well, the biggest reward of doing this really is being able to highlight great things going on, even nonprofits that need a voice, or other people doing great things that want to share what they're doing. And I get to help them do that, which in turn will raise awareness for a local organization doing something, or a local nonprofit, or a local family. In our January issue, we did highlight a family who has a daughter that also has special needs, and we got a lot of feedback on celebrating inclusion. And, you know, that really was so rewarding to be able to have them share their story with the community and then receive such amazing feedback on how we are promoting inclusion. And our next issue that's out now, the April issue, is all about inclusion as well.
Yeah.
For Autism Acceptance Month.
Right, yeah. And that's become such a big topic now. So that is really beautiful that you do get to see your work bringing awareness and helping in a positive way in that community.
Everything in the magazine has to be positive.
I love that.
We do not want to have anything that brings a negative vibe in the home each month. So you can get that everywhere else in the world.
Exactly.
But when someone receives their magazine, I want them to be excited and sit down and read about what's going on in town and, you know, what good are we trying to do? What good are the neighbors, or your neighbors, trying to do? So that is like the whole underlying theme every month.
I love that. We need more of that in the world for sure. So are there any plans to add any more towns, any more magazines?
I get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
3 is probably a lot, but
it is a lot. Thank God for my team, and thank you to my team out there. But I mean, in the future, I would love to grow. You know, I need to spend time dedicating to each one to make sure it is really growing in its town before I branch out. However, you know, there's a lot of towns in Long Island that don't have these local community magazines where people can really celebrate what's going on. So if anyone is interested in launching one in a town that doesn't have one, you know, they can of course reach out to me and I can kind of help them get started with that. Because of course I partner with a company, Best Version Media, that helps me get the magazine out there. They help me print it and mail it. So, you know, I'm not doing this on my own in my home. I am doing this with a professional industry, and others can join. So, you know, we are looking for a publisher in amazing towns, not only around here, but all through Long Island.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news. That would be a good goal, right? If you started something that was eventually in every town in Long Island.
Well, that's a dream, a future dream.
It's a big goal.
Yes.
That you might achieve.
I hope
I could see it happening. So if anybody, I know that if you are definitely very open to expanding, and you also probably always need nominations, guest writers, expert writers on different things for your magazine. If anyone has any information regarding the magazine or any questions, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Of course. So if you do not receive the magazine, because there are some homes that were not in the initial distribution, that when I'm going to tell you how to reach out, you feel free to reach out and get your address on the distribution list. It is free for residents.
Oh, great.
It's free for residents at the generosity of our sponsors, who are essentially the people that are advertising in the magazine. So these are local businesses that want to support your magazine. So hopefully you will see the value in them and support their business as well.
Yeah.
But so that being said, reach out to us if your address is not yet on the list. Our addresses and contact info are on page 3 of the magazine, but I'd say the easiest way to get in touch with me is through our Instagram.
Okay.
Garden City Living Magazine. And you can DM us or me and communicate if you have a nomination or a story idea or a pet of the month you want to nominate, or if you know a great sponsor or just want to get on the list. Of course, you can also email me at kimjones@bestversionmedia.com.
Great.
Again, it's on page 3, and you can also find some contact info on Instagram. So those would be the easiest ways to reach out.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm sure we're going to have people reach out to you, because who doesn't want to be a part of this, right? I love the positivity. I love the connection aspect. It's all things that we love over here too. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for sharing all of this with us, Kim. I hope to have you on again too. This was
love that.
great.
Yes.
And so you heard Kim. the Instagram or the email if you want to get in contact with her. And to our audience, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of GC360. We will see you next time.